Good evening, everybody. It's 7 p.m., March 23rd, 2020. I'm going to call this regular meeting, City of Coolidge City Council to order. First order of business will be invocation by Pastor Jonathan Davis with the Coolidge Indian Assembly of God. Pastor Davis. After the invocation, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
So we bow our heads in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I pray tonight you will guide us always. We pray that you will help us meet the needs that must be met during this meeting tonight. Strengthen our council this evening as they face the challenges that they are required to make difficult decisions. I pray that we will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. I pray that we will be fruitful in our business. Almighty God, we pray for wisdom and understanding during these days of crisis that we face now concerning this COVID-19 pandemic. We ask for your healing upon not only our locality and our state, but our nation also, and even the world, that effective treatment and cures may be found and implemented in an expeditious time. Father in heaven, please guide us so that as this meeting tonight can be productive, let us be effective and decisive. And we ask these things in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Norma, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Councilmember Jimmy Walker?
Here.
Councilmember Tina Kaufman?
Here.
Councilmember Steve Hudson?
Here.
Mayor John Thompson?
Here.
Vice Mayor Jackie Henry?
Here.
Councilmember Ben Navarro?
Here.
And Councilmember Tatiana Murrieta, and she is out of state. We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you, Norma. First item tonight under presentations is a proclamation. Vietnam War Veterans Day. I'm going to read this proclamation because we have a number of Vietnam veterans in this city. Office of the Mayor, proclamation, Vietnam War Veterans Day. Whereas today we recognize the more than 3 million Americans who served in the Vietnam War and the nearly 58,000 men and women who died or were lost during the war, and whereas throughout our country's history, thousands of Arizona citizens have fought in wars and conflicts to defend our safety and way of life, and whereas their legacy of patriotism and dedication to country is an inspiration to all Americans, and whereas it is appropriate that all Arizona citizens remember the bravery of those who gave their lives so that their sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of your freedom. Now, therefore, I, John Thompson, Mayor of Coolidge, Arizona, do hereby proclaim March 29th, 2020 to be Vietnam War Veterans Day and urge all citizens of Coolidge to take a cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in it. Move into public hearings. First one's item number 5, to receive public comments on portions of land located in sections 8 and 9, Township 6 South, Range 8 East of the Gila and Salt River Basin Meridian of Pinal County, Arizona, known as the PLH Randolph Annexation. This is a public hearing. Mr. Lopez will open up, and then if there's anybody in the audience that wants to address this, they'll have an opportunity. Mr. Lopez.
Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, council members. These 3 public hearings that are going to follow each other are a result of our development agreement with St. Holdings, aka Pinal Land Holdings. So this is a 60-acre annexation called the Randolph Annexation. It's up on the map here, so you could see the cross streets, which are La Palma and Randolph. It's southeast corner, and the statutes for notification have all been followed, and the requirements are satisfied. This doesn't include any state land. The This is a one-owner annexation requiring signatures from the owner of record, and we would get a quarter paved mile of La Palma Road. The Randolph Road is already in the city. As you know, we annex roads when it's adjacent to an annexation that was already done. The advertisement for this was published in the Coolidge Examiner on March 11th, 2020. And Tim Hansen and myself are here if you have any questions. So we recommend the mayor and council that you hold a public hearing to receive public comment concerning the proposed PLH Randolph annexation.
Mr. Lopez, this is, what did you say, 60 acres? Is this a one, you did say a one owner?
Yes, Mayor, it is one owner. It's PLH, yeah,
Is that
St.
owner
Holdings.
here tonight?
Don't believe he is. It's PLH St. Holdings, Jakob.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
Anderson.
They have everything south. And
Okay. All right, this is a public hearing. If anybody wants to address this, this annexation, please step forward, give your name and your address, and then you have 3 minutes to address the council. Okay, anybody up here?
No. No, sir.
Okay, then we're out of that public hearing. And now we're into public hearing item number 6. To receive public comments on portions of land located in sections 29, 30, and 31, Township 5 South, Range 8 East, sections 35 and 36, Township 5 South, Range 7 East, sections 1, 2, and 3, and 12, Township 6 South, Range 7 East, Section 6, Township 6 South, Range 8 East of the Gila and Salt River Basin Meridian of Pinal County, Arizona, known as the PLH Windsor Annexation. Mr. Lopez?
Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, council members. This is a 1,879.5 acre annexation, proposed annexation, and all the requirements for notification were followed. This is a 26 owner annexation, the way it's actually proposed right now. As you know, some of these annexations, once they're filed, they can not increase in size, but they can decrease in size. So once we come back, we'll bring that forward to you. So we would have half a mile of paved on Martin Road, half a mile of Tweedy Road, half a mile paved of Randolph Road, and 1 mile of dirt mile of Tweedy Road, and 390 feet of Bartlett and McCrae would be added to our maintenance inventory for these properties. This was also published in the Coolidge Examiner on March 11th, 2020. Recommended mayor and council hold a public hearing to receive public comment concerning the proposed PLH Windsor annexation. I'll answer any questions you may have.
Okay, any questions? Okay, this is a public hearing. If there's anybody here to address the PLH Windsor annexation, please step forward.
Good evening. I'm Kim Vale. I'm the general manager of Chandler Ginning Company, 5878 North 11 Mile Corner Road. We have 160 acres on the corner of our northern boundary, would be McCartney Road, and our eastern boundary would be 11 Mile Corner Road. Having 160 acres out there that is zoned straightly for agriculture, the board has instructed me to ask that we be removed from this. We see no benefit that it would have for Chandler Ginning Company at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Is there anybody else? Good evening.
Howdy. My name's Doug James. I live on Randolph Road in the old stone farmhouse there. If any of you have been up that road, probably remember it's been there for over 100 years. I typed out my note because I didn't really know exactly how this went. And are you the recorder? Can I give you a copy of this and I'll just read it and maybe I can give copies to whoever else would like to.
Sure.
I didn't know exactly
I'll take
how
one.
we did this, so pardon me. I'm not
Mr. James, how many copies do you have?
Pardon me?
How many copies do you have?
I need one to read. I made about 6. I didn't know how many.
Could I get one? Thank you. No problem. I can distribute to council for you, whoever wants one on council.
Thanks very much.
Take one.
There's not a newspaper record.
We can share.
Yeah, yes. The old Clemens house is, I wasn't there when Clemens was around, so I don't know them.
Did they ever widen up the steps to that basement, or are they still about that wide?
They're a little wider than that, but not much wider. And just while we're having a relaxed moment before I get into reading, I've been working on trying to restore the old house. It's over a century old. According to the records with the county, it was built about 1914, somewhere in there, 1914. Maybe it took them a few years. There's been some rumors about rock masons were brought in from England in order to go ahead and build it, and I will tell you this much. The walls are perfectly straight. I couldn't do that on my best day. So the boulders are large, very big. Moving along with this, I'll just read the letter so that way it's on the recorder and you all have a copy of what I'm going to read. I'd like to go on record as being opposed to the annexation of my home on Randolph Road. I did not move there 20 years ago and wish to become incorporated into a municipality. I have no desire to be governed by ordinances written for the benefit of high-density areas like those found in residential areas. Frankly, I can't see the edge of town of Coolidge from my home. Certainly the signage is available down the road, but the actual edifices that make up the town proper can't be seen. In conclusion, I submit a list of concerns that, if not in effect now, certainly can be instituted should the decision to annex the property be approved. 1, presently enjoy the delivery of mail to my address via the Casa Grande mail office. Should annexation be granted, the Coolidge mail office will no doubt have to concede, and I will be forced to buy a post office box and make daily trips into Coolidge each day to retrieve my mail. I allow, as a personal choice, to let the winter plants grow naturally. This allows for the production of oxygen, reduction in greenhouse gases, absorption of air pollution, and allows for resident ecology to prosper. City ordinances often do not allow annual plants to grow to seed. I enjoy having evening campfires in the backfield. Although this may not be in violation of any ordinance yet, it could be with just one council meeting. I have pulled down part of the backfield so that I may enjoy flying my PPG aircraft. I feel in short order that this will not be allowed. Up until last year, I've enjoyed the presence of equine on my property. As the zoning for the neighboring property has now been changed to be used for apartments, the vision will develop that my equine endeavor will be halted. If I decide to grow a crop of, say, saffron in my backfield, I would need to put a 10-foot high fence around it as it's a cash crop. Most ordinances do not allow a fence that high. The struggle goes on with restoring a century-old rock farmhouse. I feel that forced annexation of my home to be unjust. What's next? Forced water and the end to my well along with the loss of water rights. Forced sewage hookup with a monthly bill attached. City trash pickup with an increase in charges along with forced defeat of Kim's trash service. They're the ones who pick up the trash now. It's not fair to incorporate a citizen into liabilities of a municipality if she had no voice, nor is it acceptable to force someone to become part of that liability decision-making process unwillingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. James. Okay. Anybody else have anything? Anybody up here?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Mr. Lopez, I assume that you will have a discussion with these gentlemen sooner rather than later?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. We also have recorded a couple other people that Tim and I have spoken to that are opposed to annexations on the very bottom. We'll add those to the record.
Okay. Okay, is there anything else? No? Not on this one?
No, Mayor, not at
Okay,
this
then
time.
we'll move out of this, item 6, public hearing, and we'll move into item 7's public hearing. Receive public comments on portions of land located in Section 9, Township 7 South, Range 8 East of the Gila and Salt River Basin Meridian of Pinal County, Arizona, known as the Noland annexation. This is a public hearing.
Mayor, can I just interrupt you for a minute?
Sure.
Can we ask the gentleman if he understands what's going on? That this is just a public hearing and we're not voting on it? And
No, we're, yeah.
do you understand what's going on here?
It's just a matter of me presenting my
Right.
issues and also for the planning and zoning folks.
Okay, you look like you were a little confused, so I didn't know if you thought we would vote on it or,
No, I
Okay.
figured you're probably going to go into a chamber someplace and discuss the situation. That's why I wrote out the letter.
well, that won't happen tonight.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it will.
Okay.
In fact,
I just want to make sure you understood.
I was going to listen to the rest of the
Okay.
proceeding.
Was it on here?
Mr. Mayor, can I just add, for clarification for you, sir, and those that have expressed opposition about this annexation, we drew the boundary. The next step in this process would be for us to circulate petitions. Generally, through this public hearing process, we find out who does not support the annexation. We can reduce the size of the annexation area to exclude those property owners that don't want to be annexed and annex around those properties. If for some reason we need to annex somebody that doesn't want to be annexed, your choice is to not sign the annexation petition. It's a very, we'll eventually have to submit an annexation petition, and we have to have more than 50% of the property owners owning more than 50% of the valuation of the property within the annexation sign off to make it effective. And that would only allow the council then to consider an annexation ordinance later. So there's still quite a few steps that need to take place.
Very good. Sorry if my letter was maybe a little off track, but I'm not.
No, it's perfect. That's exactly right. No, this was the right hearing for it.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Lopez.
Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, council members, this is the Nolan annexation. It's 219.8 acres, and it's on the, you can see on Highway 87, north of Hannah Road. It involves, I believe, 3 property owners and of record, and we would take in 1 lane or 3/4 a paved mile of Hannah Road that would be added to the maintenance inventory on the southern end of it. And this was also circulated in the Coolidge Examiner on March 11th, 2020. It's recommended the mayor and council hold a public hearing to receive public comment concerning the proposed Nolan annexation. And we'll answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Lopez, for the sake of the public record, how many owners are there in this?
Mayor, there's 3.
Have all 3 asked to come in?
Yes, as far as, yes, Mayor, they have.
All 3 owners have expressed support for this annexation to our knowledge, although we've not submitted annexation petitions at this point. We believe there may be one utility company that has been, that we've learned from the Department of Revenue that also owns personal property in this annexation area. So 3 owners and 1 utility company.
Okay, but the 3 owners have expressed an interest.
Pardon?
The 3 owners have expressed the interest.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is a public hearing. If anybody has anything that they'd like to say regarding this annexation, please step forward now. Okay. Nothing here?
No.
Okay, seeing nobody step forward, we're going to move out of this item 7, public hearing, move into business, regular items. Item 8, consider approval of submitting a 2020 Proposition 202 grant application to the Gila River Indian Community in the amount of $185,850 to purchase 25 Motorola APX 8500 mobile radios for the Coolidge Police Department. Who's got that?
Mr. Mayor, before we go any further, I need to recuse myself from item 8.
Okay, did you get that, Norma? Thank you. Good evening, Commander.
Good evening, Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, and Council. Staff is asking for permission to apply for a 2021 grant through the Gila River Indian Community. This grant is going to, if awarded, would allow us to purchase 25 mobile radios to outfit our fleet that currently do not have the 800 megahertz capability to communicate with our upgraded system once we do actually upgrade it to the 800 megahertz frequency. So if we're awarded this, we would actually have that ability to operate off the 800 megahertz system and communicate with other agencies that also are operating off the 800 megahertz system.
Commander DeCero, it seems like we just bought some radios, not that. I mean, do they keep changing the frequencies? Is it the feds, or what are they doing? Or is it our systems?
So the radios that we purchased previously are actually portable radios. So these are the ones that we're carrying with us. So,
So these aren't portable?
No, these are mobile. These are actually
these are
the ones that go in the cars.
Radio. Okay, in the car. Okay, in the vehicles. Okay. All right. All right. Anybody have any questions?
No, Commander, and this will make it accessible to all law enforcement agencies. Will be on the same band that you can change, and you'll be able to talk to other law enforcement agencies on a pursuit or a chase or anything like that.
Absolutely, and currently right now we can't. If there's another law enforcement agency on the 800 megahertz system and they are actively speaking on that system and we are not on it, we cannot communicate with them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Commander, what about fire? Is fire on this one too?
Fire is not on this grant. No.
No, but I mean, are they on these frequencies?
Chief? They do.
Okay, so you'll be able to get, if we have an emergency situation, everybody will be able to communicate?
Oh, absolutely.
It won't be like it was in 9/11 when
Right.
nobody could talk to anybody unless they had to carrier pigeons?
Yeah, so, right. They're capable to operate off the 800 megahertz frequency, but the channels, they're what they call all band radios. So not only can they do the 800 megahertz frequency, but they can still do our current frequency as well. So even if fire or public works or anybody else that does not switch to the 800 megahertz, I will still be able to, or we will still be able to communicate with them.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Commander.
Sure.
The one question I had is if you're actually awarded this grant and you get them, how many more radios will you need to complete everything that you have in your fleet?
So this grant, we're asking for 25 mobile radios. That will replace all of them in the fleet.
Okay.
So, Commander, the new police vehicles that we get, will these radios go on those also? Or are they going to be equipped with the upfit that we do with the new radio system?
So I believe since about 2016-ish, maybe 2017, every vehicle that we have been purchasing, we've been already putting these APX 8500 radios in those. So those are already equipped with them.
So it's part of the upfit that we do?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. And it's one of the reasons why the upfit's so costly, because these radios in themselves cost about $8,500 each.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Yes. You guys got anything over there? Rick? No? Yes. Okay. Thank you, Commander.
Yep.
Thank you, Chief.
Well, if there's no further discussion, Mayor, I make a motion we approve item 8 as read.
I second it.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Item 9, consider approval of the infrastructure services plan for the Alligator annexation. Mr. Lopez, welcome back.
Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, council members, this is the Alligator annexation, and this is the, as you know, in order for us to annex a piece of property into the city, we have to present to you an infrastructure services plan on how the city plans to address any needs on the property, including maintenance and all the different services we provide. So this is the plan you have with you. The city will assume maintenance of half a mile of paved road, which is on, I believe, Sunshine Boulevard. It's on 287 to the north. So this is a step that needs to be done prior to you considering the ordinance to actually bring that property into the city. And we'll answer any questions you may have.
No.
No questions here? Any questions? All right. If there's no questions, then I'm going to need a motion to act.
I make a motion to approve item 9 as read.
Second.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a couple of seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item 10, ordinance number 20-11, an ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Coolidge extending and increasing the corporate city limits of the city of Coolidge, Pinal County, state of Arizona, pursuant to the provisions of Title 9, Chapter 4, Article 7, Arizona Revised Statutes and amendments thereto, by annexing thereto certain territory contiguous to the existing city limits of the city of Coolidge, consisting of 280 acres, more or less, and located within sections 19 and 20, Township 6 South, Range 8 East of the Gila and Salt River Basin Meridian, Pinal County, known as the Alligator Annexation, and adopting initial zoning of agriculture, of ag, for said territory. Mr. Lopez?
Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, council members, this is a 280-acre annexation, as the map shows there on 287 and split by Sunshine Boulevard. The blank petition was signed, was actually recorded March 5th, 2019, Pinal County. Public hearing was held March 25th of 2019. As required, the city staff recorded a signed petition on March 23rd, 2020. So all the steps that are needed have been done. So all we need is, we recommend the mayor and council approve the ordinance annexing the property north of Highway 287 and east and west side of Sunshine Boulevard. Unless there are any questions you may have.
None?
No.
Okay, well, if there's nothing further, then I need somebody to act on this item 10.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve ordinance number 2011 as read.
I second it.
Okay, Norma, there's a motion and a second.
Councilmember Hudson?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaufman?
Yes.
Councilmember Walker?
Yes.
Councilmember Navarro?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Henry? Vice Mayor Henry?
You there,
Yeah.
Jack? Oh, there we go.
Mayor Thompson?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution number 20-05, a resolution of the mayor and the city council of the city of Coolidge, Arizona, designating the election dates and purpose of election, designating the deadline for voter registration, and designating the place and the last date for the candidates to file nomination papers. Discussion and action. Norma.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the council. Before you tonight for consideration and adoption is the resolution that calls the election, the upcoming election for 2020, which states that the date for the primary is August 4th of 2020, and if a general is needed, it'll be November 3rd of 2020. It also advises everyone the last day to register to vote, if you're wanting to vote in any of these elections, will be July 6th of 2020. And the purpose of the election is to vote for a candidate for the office of mayor and 3 candidates for 3 council seats. So that's the upcoming primary and election on August 4th, 2020. So I'm asking for council to adopt the resolution, approve it, so we can move forward with the election. I can answer any questions you may have.
Do you have any questions? Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, Norma, what if this pandemic goes into August 4th? Do we have a plan on being able to staff the voting places to make sure that it's safe for the voters to come in?
Honorable Mayor and members of the council, Councilmember Hudson, at this time, with the information that the league is providing is all dates we are moving forward with. They're not going to rescheduling. It's just like for the deadline for candidates to file is April 6th. That will remain. And so what us clerks are being told is the election date, the elections are moving forward as scheduled for 2020. So if it means that they're going to have to, open up precincts and meet people and we'll know as we get further into closer to the date, to the election date. But right now, we're being told the elections are moving forward as planned.
Right, I understand that moving forward as planned, but I mean, the safety of the residents coming in and voting. I mean,
Right.
we have a contingent plan, just in case, wiping things down as people come in, as voters come in, wiping down the area that
The
they vote
areas.
in. I mean, should we be looking at that, or?
Well, and because I don't, the city doesn't necessarily hire the board workers or the election workers. This is all through the county. The county will probably be reaching out to the cities and towns and probably preparing. The city does not have a plan in place. We're sort of getting our information from the league and the county at this time. So I'm sure that if it goes out that far, if that pandemic goes, extends that far out, I'm sure there's going to be measures taken for the election.
Thank you, Norm.
And Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Hudson, I think there's been some discussion, possibly an all-mail ballot. So I think all those things are being considered at this time. So depending on what the circumstances are, I think potentially we could see an all-mail election in August and possibly November.
Just want the voters to know that,
Right.
we will be able to handle anything that comes up.
It's a great question.
Thank you.
That was going to be my question is, are they going to go to all-mail in ballot? And I know there was some concerns over this last election that they just had on the Democrat side, I guess it was, in the last couple of weeks, because they had to close, they didn't have all the polling places open.
That's correct.
So there was a lot of complaining, as there generally is in Coolidge, about not having all the polling places open. So I guess on a bigger election, or on a, like such as the one coming up, they will have them all. But we contract with the Pinal County elections, so it's not really up to the city. It's up to Pinal County elections to decide how that goes.
That is correct, Mayor.
So-
The county consolidates a lot of their precincts, and so it's technically their call.
Yeah, so, okay. Well, thank you. Is there anything else? Anybody have anything else for the good of, okay, then I need a motion to act.
Mr. Mayor, making a motion to approve resolution number 2005 is read.
I second it.
Okay, Norma?
Councilmember Navarro?
Yes.
Councilmember Walker?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaufman?
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Henry?
Yes.
And Mayor Thompson?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Item 12, consider approval of the claims for the month of February 2020. Okay. Does anybody have any question regarding,
No.
no?
No questions.
Okay, if there are no questions, then I need somebody to take some action.
Mayor, if there's no further discussion, I make a motion that we approve the claims for the month of February.
Second.
Okay, the motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Resolution 13, resolution number 20-06, a resolution of the mayor and the city council of the city of Coolidge, Arizona, declaring an emergency as a result of the threat of the COVID-19 outbreak. Who's got this one? Dennis, is this you?
Mr. Mayor, I can take this. This is a resolution whereby council can declare an emergency. A lot of cities around the state have done so, and so we're not doing anything with regards to closing anything or anything like that, other than trying to set forth that there is an emergency, and we ask that obviously people follow the guidelines of the CDC, State of Arizona, the Health Department, as well as the Pinal County Health Department. But so we thought it was beneficial for the council to have this vote in a hearing rather than simply the mayor declaring it, and so that's why it's coming to you this evening.
You might want to tell them a little bit about, there's a couple of things, I guess. One of them is you can react quicker. You don't have to post for a meeting and have a meeting in the event something.
Right. We essentially, once a declaration gets declared, it talks about that we can go, the city can be ruled by proclamation and things like that, and that's what happens once the emergency is declared. Also, there's then the mayor has authority to rule by proclamation, and I think, Mr. Mayor, something you're just talking about is a potential proclamation that the mayor might issue, where you specifically state that not that the open meeting law is the open meeting law is still there, but it gives people notice that council may be present in a quorum setting at various events that occur because of the potentially COVID-19, whether it's a briefing by the governor, whether it's a briefing by the county, whether it's a briefing here at the city. It gives notice. I think, Mr. Mayor, is where you might be going, is there is council could be present in quorums so that Norma doesn't have to constantly post quorum notices, because there's some flexibility. Not that you're going to conduct any city business at the time, it's just that you guys could be present, and there could be as much as 4 or more of you present.
I think additionally, doesn't it open up some opportunities if there's an emergency declared for funding for the citizens?
Mr. Mayor, that is getting debated. I think that we're doing it as kind of a belts and suspenders point, because the president has declared the emergency and the governor has declared the emergency. We've kind of watched that part of it to see, do cities have to declare it too, if there's any type of emergency funding available. I think, for the most part, I think we're probably completely covered by the president and the governor, but just to be completely safe, this would also cover it in case any of our local businesses, if there's any type of applications they submit or prepare for emergency funding or something like that, there's a box they can check whether emergency is declared by their city. Now they'd be able to check that box if council approves the resolution.
Yeah, that was one of my main concerns, though, when we
Right.
put on the agenda, was I don't want our citizens to miss out on something because
Right.
we misread or misinterpreted.
Right.
Or
And we've never got definitive answers. We've gotten answers both from the governor's office and also from Senator Sinema's office. They felt like there was potentially enough coverage through the president and the governor, but nobody definitively gives us an answer. So I think this is out of an abundance of caution that we're asking that the council approve this resolution, so that we make sure that all our residents are protected if there is some specific requirement that the city declare its own emergency.
any questions?
Part of this funding, would that include, if for whatever reason the case arises, funding for overtime for police department, fire department, public works?
That's one of the.
Yeah, I think all that is potentially, part of the emergency declaration that, if the city manager needs to marshal those type of assets and resources, they'll have the authority to do that.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, we have been staying very close. I know our fire chief and police chief have been sitting in on several calls, as I have, being updated on the coronavirus regularly, almost every day. I mean, there's not a day that goes by that we don't receive some kind of a site-specific or an analysis of where we stand today at a county level, at a state level, and at a federal level. And we do have a packet here that the chief just gave me today. I've seen some of this information already that talks about eligible reimbursements that cities can request, 75% matched by the federal government. But there has to be a very detailed accounting of where these resources, our resources, went. Law enforcement, fire, first responders are absolutely one of the eligible items that you can seek reimbursement for if we have to have additional response there. There are a number of other things, but you just have to follow these guidelines very carefully.
With this, it's crazy what's been going on. And I know last week, the Family Dollar Store, their 18-wheeler pulled up. And I know the police department has been sent to Safeway, Walmart, Dollar General, Family Dollar, because they see these trucks pulling up and they think they can go in. And evidently there's been instances in Casa Grande where they've actually gotten into the truck and trying to basically steal the product. Would this give, and I know we have only so many police officers, and I know if they do have to come in and work, possibly get overtime, but would this give us the opportunity, or the mayor the opportunity? I know that the governor has activated the National Guard. I know there's a National Guard in Casa Grande and also in Coolidge. But would it give the authority of the mayor that if it were to increase, that they have the authority to ask the National Guard to step in and help where there's not going to be any public safety problems? If the police department is called out, and let's say they're on other calls and stuff, and you get a truck pull up, and hopefully it's not going to get to that point, but this last week, when you stand 3 hours in the Family Dollar store to get toilet paper, the parking lot was totally packed. It could have been, a problem with traffic. I know my wife went to Walmart today, and she actually went at 8:30, and they had stuff on the shelves, and people were a little bit calmer than they had been last week or so. But if it ever got to that point where, they come in and say, any non-essential business is closed down, which is going to make people panic again. Our law enforcement agency is overwhelmed to begin with, not having enough police officers to handle the emergency calls and everything. Would it give them the mayor opportunity to ask for National Guard help or not?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Hudson, yes, I think under Code Section 1711, it specifically says that the mayor has the authority to call upon all regular and auxiliary law enforcement agencies and organizations within or without the city to assist in preserving the keeping of the peace and order within the city. So I think that would definitely give the mayor the opportunity to request those outside services. There's also in the state statutes that specifically talk about the mutual aid agreements between the various cities, and which we have with Gila River, which we also have with some of our cities, that would bring that into effect too. Also, just this afternoon, the governor issued Executive Order 2020-12, which prohibits the closure of essential services. It's about a 7, 8, maybe 9-page order that kind of gets into, I think, what you're getting at, what businesses are considered essential, what businesses, and so it's a pretty broad brush that the governor paints in this declaration that covers a lot of businesses under the essential services, and so I think a lot of people will feel a lot better, because I think there was a lot of concern out there before, because they didn't know what it really meant if essential services got shut down. But I think this order that came out this afternoon explains a lot of that, so.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And yes, lawyers are essential services, Mr. Hudson. I knew that was your next question.
I'm so worried about it.
Somehow I got buried at the end of the order, though. I was a little surprised. We're right above the funeral homes, so it's nice.
And it's just to make the citizens aware of that. I mean, like I said, my wife did go, and it seemed a lot calmer. I've been to probably every grocery store every day in this town just to see how people are acting, seeing where the products are on the shelves. And when I see 1 or 2 items that I can pick up, that I might need at the house, but it seems like it's calmed down some. I know the toilet paper and the paper towels is a big thing right now, but the grocery stores are starting to limit 1 per purchase per family, which I think if they would have done that a couple weeks ago, of course they didn't know, but I think it would have made the people a lot calmer and felt a lot safer.
And I think when you talk to the resale establishments, a lot of them will tell you they have a lot of product. It's just trying to get it into the stores and on the shelves. So there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline, and I think that was one of the reasons I think the governor called out the National Guard to assist in moving actual product. I think there's really not shortages in the country. It's just trying to get it into the store and on the shelves.
Yeah, and that's what he said, the National Guard, you won't probably see them at the stores because they will be working at nighttime to help them facilitate when restocking the shelves and everything. I just want to make sure that the citizens of Coolidge know that tomorrow the sun will shine again, and the next day it will, and the next day it will. We've had a lot of tougher things that we've come across in our lives. I've been through a couple recessions, some gas times where you could only get 10 gallons of gas on odd or even day of your license plate. I think if everybody just has calmer heads, just buy what they need and just take care of your neighbor. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes, Vice Mayor.
I wanted to ask Dennis, does this give the mayor the power to take care of things so we don't have to have special meetings?
Mayor, Vice Mayor Henry, yes, it would allow him to rule by declaration on a lot of issues, curfew, if there was to close streets, close businesses, to deal with personnel, food supplies, drug supply, medical facilities, things like that. He would be allowed to rule by by proclamation.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that was actually one of my questions was, what does rule by proclamation mean? And that pretty much covers it, what you can do and everything. And to kind of back up a little bit, I'm just talking about bringing in the National Guard to help out and everything like that. Nobody wants to say it, but it smells like martial law, and I know a lot of people are actually worried about martial law being enacted. I am not one of them personally, but I just kind of wanted to calm everybody down about it. Everybody's worried they're going to call martial law, and everybody's super freaked out about this thing, and it's very serious, but I don't think it's anywhere like that. And by doing this state of emergency and saying that the mayor can rule by proclamation, that is not martial law, just to be clear, correct?
Right, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Navarro, it is not martial law. Now, by any stretch of the imagination, really, although the mayor has certain rights by proclamation, still the city manager obviously operates the day-to-day functions of the city. This just allows him, if there's a need that we need immediately, he would be able to do it through a proclamation as opposed to having a council meeting and passing a resolution or an ordinance or something like that. Just allows the city to move a lot quicker if we need to.
Okay. That's all I have.
Yeah, I would say a lot of cities called for special council meetings and did it a lot quicker. I personally didn't feel it was necessary that we do that here. But last week, when the governor set the proclamation out that shut down the restaurants as far as the walk-in business, it seemed like everything started moving pretty quick. And at that point in time, we were a little bit behind the 8 ball in reacting. We had to get the fire chief, the police chief, and a good number of the department heads that we could get together and have a conversation about what we needed to do. And so those are the type of situations where we need to be able to, we don't have time to post meetings. Martial law is a whole different ballgame.
It's a whole different thing.
I don't see any of that coming down the road anytime in the near future, but but there are times where you need to take some action. I mean, the other night I started getting calls at midnight about the parking swap was gonna open, and as it is, it's in the county, it's not in the city, and so I think our police chief got a hold of the county, and anyway, to make a long story short, the county said it's just another business, so they didn't do anything about the parking swap, so that's the way it goes.
This order that was issued today, Mr. Mayor, in addition to giving a lot more definition to what's essential service and things like that, it's also clearly putting up roadblocks on what the governor's trying to prevent cities from doing. So I think the governor, through this order, is trying to say, hey, this is going to be allowed, this will not be allowed, this will be allowed, this won't be allowed. So it really is worth your time reading this order because it kind of sets forth at least how the governor perceives everything's going to move forward.
Where can you read that at, Dennis?
I can send it to you. I have a copy, so I'll send it to you. I think it's probably on the league website right now, but I can get it sent to council.
It is, I've looked at it.
I can do that. We just got that late this afternoon. I made a copy of it to bring to the meeting tonight as well, so late. It seems like every few hours we're getting updates, and this is something relatively new here.
Yeah, if you could email me that, because there are a lot of businesses that are very concerned, and it could cost owners a lot of money.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Councilman Navarro is exactly right. I get calls and people saying, hey, I think this is going to happen. I hear that. And the county in our meetings have said their biggest fear is the rumors that are flying on. Their biggest concern is rumors that are flying all over. We just, we can't sit here and assume that these rumors are true. A lot of them aren't. What we can assume is that we're following the guidelines of the Center for Disease Control, the state health officials, and the county health officials, and the Office of County Emergency Management. The governor's going to set forth a lot of these criteria for us, so I think that's probably the best place to go to research and find out what is what's looking at what we're looking at in the future. So don't listen to the rumors.
And then I would like to make sure, I know a couple things have gone past the wayside where council people weren't emailed about certain things, but I would like for all the council people to be emailed anything that does happen or when the mayor does make a decision, that we as council people do know the information, so when we are asked by the citizens, that we also be able to answer the questions, please.
Absolutely. And I suspect that's also related to any proclamations that the governor or mandates that the governor puts out.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the last couple of things I put out, I asked them to send out to the council before they went out anywhere. So, because I think that communication is definitely the key in these times, because there's so much misinformation going out over social media that it's really ridiculous. So, but anyway, we know what it is. There's a motion on, or there's a item on the floor. Do we want to take action on it, or?
Yes, Mayor, I make a motion that we approve resolution number 20-06 as read.
I second it.
Second.
Okay. There's a motion and a second, Norma.
Vice Mayor Henry,
Yes.
Councilmember Navarro,
Yes.
Councilmember Walker,
Yes.
Councilmember Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson,
Yes.
and Mayor Thompson.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I have a report from the mayor of council. We'll start down here with Councilmember Walker.
Just real quick, I mean, our city staff, and I'm talking about the entire city staff, has a tough job every day. With this pandemic, it's obviously making it worse, and I just wanted to reach out and thank the police department, the fire department, the library, public works, just everybody in the city who's trying to make things as normal as possible in this time. And as Steve said, just keep calm heads. You know, there's no reason, to panic. Follow the CDC's advice. If you don't have to go out, don't go out. Don't gather. The biggest thing is the rumors. Like you said, it's out of control. I have never seen anything like this before, because I'm not as old as Steve, but
Not many people are.
it's unbelievable. Just stay calm, follow the CDC's advice, and just, department heads, thank your staff for what they do every day, but especially in this time, because we all appreciate it.
I just want to toss out there, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. I say that to the drivers I put on the road every day. We've been granted essential business status by the feds. Push come to shove, our DOT hours of service can be extended based on current need on any type of emergency functions that we may be doing. My company's actually gone out and deconned a school in the, I believe, Detroit area, so that they could get those cafeterias open up so they could feed the lunch to the kids that would normally be eating at school but are now on, no school call. So, that's part of the essential functions that my company does. It's every day we're in conversations, communications regarding, the advancements, the new rules and regs. We're mindful because we put our guys in harm's way as we do our city workers here. You're out there, you're in the mix. You can't always keep that 6 foot of social distance when you're responding to a situation. So the best we can hope for is, God's protecting you, giving you a barrier of protection for your safety and your health. So that's what I pray for. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say also again, just keep calm heads. About a week ago, my next door neighbor came over. I had my grandkids, of course, they're out of school. So they're over at our house most of the time. We have my daughter and my son-in-law. We come together and we eat just about every night at our house, pull our resources together. My next door neighbor came over and wanted to know how we were doing, and made homemade cinnamon rolls and offered toilet paper. And I think if everybody in this city would take care of not only themselves, but worry about their neighbors, especially if they're elderly, keep calm heads, buy just what you need for a week or 2 weeks, leave stuff on the shelves for everybody else. Be smart about it. You know, you buy this stuff, food does spoil if you don't have a freezer. And even if you have a freezer, after 6 months, it does spoil. You might be wasting a lot of money on products you won't be able to use. But, you know, if we just take care of not only ourselves, but our neighbors, you know, it says, love thy neighbor as you do thyself. And just come together as a community and a family like we have. I also want to thank the workers at all the grocery stores, the Dollar Generals, the Family Dollars, what they have gone through and the anger of the people that have shown to these people that all they're trying to do is do their job and to provide the products that we need. So, you know, thank them. Put a smile on your face. Their job is tough too. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember.
I echo all the council members up here, and especially fire department, police department, public works, all you guys. And not only the guys that are out there in the streets, the people that are in the office, Norma, I mean, everybody who's in there. You have to deal with the public. You have to deal with each other. I mean, oh my God, one person sneezes and they're looking at you like you're waving a gun around. It is crazy out there right now. Like Councilmember Hudson said, just calm down, move along as normal. It'll be all right. Everybody knows. Everybody's washing their hands till they almost wash them right off, and you have nothing but wrist. You'll be okay. Just keep it down to a minimum, and like everyone else says, just take care of each other out there. It's all you can do. That's all I have.
Vice Mayor?
I echo the things that everyone has said, and but I would like to add the city manager and the mayor, because I do know that they've been taking care of business, and also our city attorney, thank you very much. And I too have taken care of some of my neighbors. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my number one concern is the health and safety of our employees here. We meet regularly as department heads to discuss the things that we can do to ensure the best protection to our employees. We've devised some general guidelines, again, primarily following those recommended by the federal and state and local officials. Our offices, with the exception of the library, the youth center, and the adult center are all still open. We have posted on every entry door to every building that if someone is feeling ill, to please hold their business for another day. We just want to refrain from having anyone come in to a place of public accommodation where they may be feeling sick. So I hope everybody will use judgment and wisdom in that. Our building department is still very busy and active. You see a lot of construction happening around town. Houses are still being built. Apartments are now under construction there north of the Casablanca apartments on Vacayen Road, east of the railroad tracks. You go over here and see a senior housing project that's going vertical. A lot of really good things still happening in the community. And one thing that's happening that we can't lose sight of, and I'd like to report just briefly, I just got this report online before I came in here tonight, is we have a census that's extremely important to the city of Coolidge. As of yesterday, they are keeping a very accurate count on self-responses by city across the entire United States. As of yesterday, the self-response rate in the state of Arizona was 21.2%. In Coolidge, it was 18.9%. We're well below the state average. Florence had a 17%. Eloy at 22.9% self-response, Casa Grande at 25.3%, and Maricopa at 21.4%. The official census is coming up here very quickly. April 1st is when is the official census day. we encourage all of our citizens and everyone residing in the city of Coolidge city limits on April 1st to make sure that they put down where they're living, in Coolidge, especially if they're here. We don't want to undercount. In 2010, our self-reporting statistic was 52.4%. So you can see with about a week away from the official census date, we're way below that in 2010. So I would continue to encourage people to go online. Our library's closed, unfortunately. People can't go in there and fill it out online, but I would be happy to hear from anyone that is having difficulty completing their census documents online to contact someone to see how we can facilitate that for them. And with that, Mayor, I don't really have anything else to respond at this point.
Well, that should be maybe a fixable problem. I mean, maybe we can set up a computer somewhere and have them come in and use it and clean it down when they're done, because that counts extremely important to our city. So in these times that I don't think any of us in this room, there might be somebody that says they could foresee this coming, and then if that's the case, they should be sitting up here and I shouldn't be sitting here, because I don't know too many people that could foresee this coming. I've found out just how important a number of things are. Public safety, when we sit down to discuss our resources and what we're going to do, you look at the public safety aspect of it. That's always first and foremost with me as the mayor, and I'm sure the council can speak for themselves, but I'm sure that's foremost in their mind, is keeping the citizens safe, and the staff, they're the citizens too. You got to make sure that your police and your fire stay healthy. They're a limited commodity. We don't have a lot of them. They have to be trained a lot more than just I do to be the mayor. And so when they start having problems, we have to make contingency plans. So the only thing constant about this type of event, what we're experiencing now, is change. Things will change from tonight to tomorrow to the day after tomorrow. And you can count on that. And when it changes, the city will have to change with it. So our public safety people will be making plans. If something happens, they have to be ready to go. We have to be ready and willing to work with other departments. We were in a meeting today, City Manager Miller and I were at a meeting today, and somebody from, I believe it was Globe, spoke about they had 4 fire crews, and if one of the fire crews went out, because they're 24/7, they'd have to adjust everything, and they might have to get some assistance from another department. So that's the type of thing that we need to look at. And that's not just, but public safety, that's with everything, but public safety is a big part of this. We've tried to maintain as normal of lifestyle as we can up until this point in time. We've closed what we've thought we had to close, which were our big gathering points. As this goes on, if it continues and gets any worse, I'm sure you will see some of our offices will be a little different. I know a lot of the other cities have completely closed down their city offices. I don't know that we're in that position yet, but you will start to see some changes if this gets worse. I know that I've had discussions with the new school board president, Michael Flores, about if the schools don't open again, what the city and the schools can do in working together for the students to have access to internets and computers and things so they can continue to get an education while they're not in school. Maybe there's a city facility that they can come to where we have internet where they can utilize their equipment. These discussions have just started, and they will be ongoing if this continues. So I want to commend everybody that works for the city. There haven't been a lot of complaints. Everybody seems to do their job. It's apparent that some of them are very concerned, as are we here. But all you can do is keep doing what you're doing and continue to move forward. We'll do the best we can. I mean, we're from Coolidge. We're going to be fine. We're going to fight through it, and we'll do better than the most. But we want there to be something standing when this is over. So with every decision we make, we're going to make a decision with that in mind, that this is going to end and we're going to keep going, and we want there to be something when we come out on the other end. So I urge the citizens to have a little compassion towards one another and save your negative comments and your insults for after this is over. And then if you want to go back to your ways, then that's fine. But I think this is a time people should work together. So that's all I have. I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Aye.
You issuing this? You issuing this?
Yeah, I guess we are. We need a vote, right?
No, we voted on the resolution. Are you going to issue your proclamation?
Yeah, do you want me to read it, or do I need to?
Well, I thought since you got TV going, you might, if you wanted.
You get the
I mean,
wrong
just so
mayor,
people
but
know
I mean,
what the
I'm not one who
proclamation
likes
says.
TV.
I thought, Mr. Mayor, if you wanted to, you could issue it at this time in the meeting.
Okay. You mean just read it or sign it?
Huh?
Yes.
I can sign it for sure.
Mr. Mayor, however you want to present, it's,
Okay.
if you want to,
It's a very long proclamation.
it is a long proclamation, but I think it does set forth,
All right. That's what we'll do then. Let me get ready.
so let's stop for a second. Mr. Mayor, you're still giving your report then? So we're going to revote, we're going to withdraw the motion to adjourn the meeting. We're just going to
We
finish
just
here.
didn't vote on it yet. I'll read this.
Okay, okay.
Okay, City of Coolidge, Coolidge, Arizona. City of Coolidge Emergency Proclamation, Declaration of Local Emergency. Whereas ARS 26311 and the Coolidge City Code 17-1-1 authorize the mayor of the City of Coolidge, Arizona, to proclaim the existence or threatened existence of a local emergency when the City of Coolidge is affected or likely to be affected by a public calamity, and the state law and the City of Coolidge Code allow the mayor to govern by proclamation during such times. And whereas on March 23, 2020, the mayor and city council of the City of Coolidge adopted resolution number 20-06, declaring an emergency within the city as a result of the threat of the COVID-19 outbreak. And whereas the novel coronavirus, COVID-19, was first detected in Wuhan, how's he say it?
Wuhan.
Hubei Province, China, in December 2019, and the Centers for Disease Control considers this virus to be a significant public health threat that has and continues to spread globally. And whereas on January 30th, 2020, the World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 illness a public health emergency of international concern, and on January 31st, 2020, the United States Secretary of Health and Human Services declared a public health emergency due to the COVID-19 illness. And whereas on March 11th, 2020, the governor of the state of Arizona, Douglas A. Ducey, determined that the COVID-19 outbreak presents conditions in Arizona that justified his declaration of a state of emergency. And whereas on March 13th, 2020, the President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, found and proclaimed that the COVID-19 outbreak in the United States constitutes a national emergency. And whereas the City of Coolidge continues to plan and prepare for event and facility closures, modified staffing plans, work-from-home programs, and enhanced communications to employees to ensure effective operations of city government, and whereas the widespread nature of COVID-19 constitutes an immediate threat to life, public health, safety, and welfare, and to the economic well-being of the city of Coolidge. And whereas prudence requires that precautionary measures be taken proactively due to the widespread nature of COVID-19 and its threat to public health, safety, and welfare as referenced in the Governor's Declaration of Emergency, and that impacts the same threatened public health and safety and economic well-being of the city of Coolidge. And whereas this local declaration of emergency will help ensure the economic well-being of the city of Coolidge, and whereas the immediate threat of COVID-19 is widespread across the state and precautionary measures are necessary to curtail the imminent impact on numerous homes and businesses in Coolidge, because it is a threat to health, safety, and welfare of the general public in Coolidge. And whereas the above facts give credence to the conditions of extreme peril and public health emergency, and the declaration of a local emergency will enable the city of Coolidge to provide emergency resources, request additional resources, and receive mutual aid from other political subdivisions and entities. Now, therefore, it is hereby proclaimed and ordered as follows. Section 1. Pursuant to ARS 26311 and the Coolidge City Code, a local emergency now exists throughout the city of Coolidge, Arizona, due to COVID-19 outbreak, which presents conditions in the city that endanger life and justifies this proclamation. Section 2. This proclamation authorizes the mayor or his designee, the city manager, to take all lawful actions necessary to respond to this emergency and take all appropriate action to mitigate the effects and spread of COVID-19 and assist the city and its residents with the effects of COVID-19 outbreak, including, but not limited to, closing city public buildings and places that reasonably may be closed, limiting hours of operation of the city, public buildings and places, canceling or postponing city events, programs, and classes, imposing reasonable screenings for access to or to remain in city public buildings or places. Further, the designee may revoke, postpone, or suspend issuance of any special event license that may endanger the health, safety, or general welfare of the public. Section 3. This proclamation authorizes the city manager or his designee to declare that procurements related to mitigating the effects of this or spread of COVID-19 or related to assisting the city and its residents with the effects of COVID-19 to be under City of Coolidge Article 22-3 Emergency Procurements. Section 4. This proclamation authorizes the city manager or his designee to seek and obtain financial and other forms of aid, relief, and assistance from federal, state, and county authorities. Section 5. Citizens are urged to cooperate with this emergency declaration and, to every degree possible, abide by and cooperate with the safety announcements, advisories, and restrictions established by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Arizona State Health Department, the Pinal County Health Department, and the community's local officials and public safety agencies and emergency services personnel. Members of the public are encouraged to follow the most current recommendations of the CDC, the Arizona Department of Health Services, and the Pinal County Health Department. Use social distancing and avoid groups of 10 or more people, and avoid contact with those with elevated risk associated with COVID-19, and stay at home and contact your medical provider if you or others in your household feel sick, and stay home and away from other people if you are an older person or you have a serious underlying condition that could put you at an increased risk, for example, a condition that impairs your lung or heart function or weakens your immune system, and Practice good personal hygiene, such as regularly washing your hands, avoid touching your face, sneezing into a tissue or inside of your elbow, and frequently disinfecting. Section 6. Pursuant to the executive order on March 19, 2020, the governor of the state of Arizona, Douglas A. Ducey, ordered the following. Beginning at the close of business on Friday, March 20th, 2020, all bars, movie theaters, and indoor gyms and fitness clubs within the city of Coolidge shall close access to the public until further notice. Beginning at the close of business on Friday, March 20, 2020, all restaurants within the city of Coolidge shall close access to on-site dining until further notice. Restaurants may continue serving the public through pickup, delivery, and drive-through operations. Section 7. Any business not referenced in Section 6 above may continue operations while taking precautions to ensure social distancing and appropriate hygiene standards according to the CDC, the Arizona Department of Health Services, and the Pinal County Health Department. Section 8. This proclamation shall remain in full force and effect until amended or terminated by order of the mayor of the city of Coolidge. Pursuant to ARS 38-43102, as amended, notice is hereby given to the general public that during the declared state of emergency, a possible quorum of the city of Coolidge City Council may be in attendance during the periodic incident debriefs, including those by the state of Arizona, County of Pinal, or city. However, no formal discussion, action will be taken by members in their role as the Coolidge City Council. Proclaimed, declared, and adopted by the mayor of the city of Coolidge, Arizona, this 23rd day of March, 2020. I'm going to sign it right now.
Mayor, could you get them to send council a copy of that?
Sure.
Thank you.
So you guys heard that.
And yeah, I think the city can put it on the website. Also, council members, I did send you a copy of the governor's executive order that was issued, but it just takes a while to load. So when you click the hyperlink, just give it a couple seconds because they've sent it a weird way. So if you give it about 15, 20 seconds, it will eventually load. So.
Thank you. And like I said, the only constant in this environment at the current time is change. So the governor, if he itches, we scratch. And that's kind of the way it's been. And that's the way it will continue to be. He's the main man, and if we don't do what he says, chief will be coming to see us. So, all right. So did we have the motion and a second to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for showing up.